Hi everyone, this is Lisa from It's Little Things in Card Making, and I wanted to show you something. How many of us have focal images that we love? And we want to kind of make a simple card, and we lay down our stamps and we color it in, and then what? What do we do? What do we do with it? Do we ink up the whole background? Personally, I don't have the patience for that, and it never seems to come out right. Do you shadow it? Okay, you can maybe shadow it, each item, but again, it never seems to come out right for me. So I needed to figure out a way to highlight a stamp and not worry about the background. So again, here I am, the queen of backgrounds. I'm going to show you what I do to do a focal image for a simple card and not worry about the background. So you could see, this is very pretty. This is Copic coloring. And it's pretty, but what do we do? I don't know. Yes, I do. We stamp it on a background that we've already made. Same image. The value is different. It's a little darker because it's not on white paper, but it still works. So now you can look at this background and you can say, okay, it's something. It's color. It's good. Put a sentiment on it. It works. But it's just a little plain. So why don't we do something else? Why don't we maybe put some splotches on it? So I have a water pen here. And we can just flick. I mean, you know this. Now, because it's Copic coloring, it's not really going to bother the Copic too much. That is just too big of a dot. Let me do it a little differently. Ooh. Now, I want to leave this for a few seconds. And then I am just going to dab it up. Looks like there was some green on there. And just blot it up. Should we do a little more? Now the paper that I've used is Bristol Smooth Cardstock. And the ink was probably a water reactive ink. So it could have been any of the ones that I have, which is Hero Arts, water reactive ink, Crafter's Companion, Sparkle ink, so water reactive inks. Any water-based ink that reacts with water is your best bet. Because after you finish and you want to put a little interest or add a little interest into the background, that's how you would do it. So I'm just going to continue until I'm happy. And again, you just give it a few seconds. And then just blot it. Now, what we can also do, if we want to add more interest or something different, we can take a baby wipe that's wet, and we can just kind of smush it. the color will come off differently. So to do a background, I don't add color, I actually take it away. And to me, that is a lot more interesting than it was. And now I'm going to heat set it or heat dry it. And you'll be able to see those spots and those smushes much better. And because it's Copic coloring, the water doesn't really bother it. So here we have an interesting background with color. And by lightening the background a little bit, it kind of brought the focal image more, more prominent. So cute. So that's one way. My background, sometimes I do blends. And I'm hoping that you can see this blend. It's blue here, green, and blue again on the top. And I stamped it with a Copic friendly ink, and I Copic colored it. And I didn't put anything else on it. I just thought it was pretty enough as it was. There was enough of the background to not make it look like it's lonely. It looks like it's a prized piece, and you don't really have to do much else with it. There's another one that I was working on with a much darker background. But it could be done. It could be done with a darker background using darker inks. So this was also Copic colored. And you can see up here what I have is I take a slice, a very thin slice off my background. And again, these are all pre-made backgrounds. And I just take my Copics and I make little samples for myself to see what colors would go best. And this way I won't ruin a background or a stamped image by putting colors together that don't play well. So that's my little tip for that. And then after this is done, again, we could do the same thing. We could just take some color out by using a rag or by just putting some splats on there with the water. To lighten it up and give the background a little more interest. And I'm going to show you how I make these backgrounds. So you can do this with Copic coloring, and you can also do this with watercolor. And I'm going to show you both. So you can see my background is changing. And it just adds interest to the background. And it's just so easy. It's so much easier than trying to color a background in if you have backgrounds already made. So this dried even a little bit more, and you can really see, almost bokeh-like. Very pretty. So I'm going to show you how I make my backgrounds, and then I'm also going to show you watercolor that I've done, doing the same thing. This is a birthday card that I made, and I did the same thing. I did some blended, same color, blended to nothing in the middle, and that highlights the card and the sentiment. Now this one, same stamp, and all of these stamps are from my favorite thing, the new release. I think they're beautiful. yeah, I watercolored this card and it was just too stark. So all I did was I took a stencil, same color that I used the gray here. I just added some dots, and actually this is a snowflake die, not die, stencil. And I just added, wherever I didn't see color, that's where I added color, the little dots. But this to me is great. This is, it just helps if you just want to make, one focal point, a clean and simple card, so you don't have to mess around with your backgrounds. Have your backgrounds already made. So what I'm going to do with this is, actually I'm going to use this one. I'm just going to take, because I have these handy, I'm going to use my water pen, and you can see that I've tested my color out. And you want to make sure that the color plays well with whatever colors are in your background. So I always test, even though I know, this color is pretty good. This is a sparkle pen from Crafter's Companion. And what I do is you can wet your area first. I go one petal at a time. You can wet your area first, but since there's already color down there and it's going to activate, I'd rather put my ink down first and then pull it out wherever I think it's supposed to be darker. I will put my color. Now, I'm kind of a slow colorer. I've gotten slow over the years due to arthritis, but I've had arthritis since I'm 30. So every year I get a little slower and a little slower. So even though this is really kind of like a pink, truth of the matter is, it's going to be orange. It's going to be more orange here than it will be where the pink is on top. It will be more pink there. And this is also Bristol Smooth cardstock. It can take a lot of water. Take a lot of water, but working it, sometimes, it will pill on you if you're not careful. So if you don't like it, just add a little bit more. And sometimes what I do, just to get more of an even blend, is I'll go on my side and I'll just bring it down. And that seems to give me a little more control. So, and I've been doing a lot of the watercoloring, and I've been doing a lot of Copic coloring. So my hands are not in the best shape. And I'm going out of the lines a little bit, which is okay, kinda. Because once you finish this, this is also, I'm sorry, this is embossed. It's supposed to be keeping the color in. The embossing is supposed to be keeping the color in. But that's okay, because there's always ways to fix it. I have some micro pens that I use sometimes if I go out of the lines. And this you have to be careful of. Clean with your brush. Go over where the ink came out. Try to get rid of it. Don't overdo it. Let it dry. If you're not going to get it in the first shot, let it dry. We're just going to keep going. We'll get back to that. Yeah, so I'm a little shaky here, but I wanted to get this video out. Thought it was important to those of us that have all these backgrounds or have focal images that we just want to use. And by kind of putting them together, you can get could use. Again, I'm cleaning off my brush. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to try to get rid of that. And basically, that's how I do it. And I'll go over it again. So this blend here I'm not crazy about. I'll go over it 2 or 3 times if I have to. And blend it out. And that's how I did these cards here. Now, that's how I'll use the pen, I'll use the water brush, and basically that's how I'll do this. I'll show you the difference in color, like up here. I'm going to put it in. And just pull it out. And it will be different because we're kind of reactivating the watercolor underneath. So it will be different from what's down here. This will be more yellow, this will be more pink. And but that gives you a little more variation. So I don't know if you can see the difference. And when this is done, I won't do anything to the background. I won't do splatters. I won't take any ink off because it is a tri-colored. I think it just is enough. Put a little sentiment and it's enough. Now before this gets, this, I have this as well, and my plan was to do yellow on this. So let me just show you. This one is a little different because it has all of these lines, which is very cool. So again, I tested my yellow. I have it here. I'm going to shake up my pen. Get some of that sparkle in there. And I still go one petal at a time. So, we want to make sure there's no pink on here. And all I'm going to do is just bring it out. This way. And this I embossed with silver embossing powder from Ranger. Anywhere I start to see a turn or a curve, I know to stop. And I know to, to change. Look at that green is coming through. I know to change to water. Because the darkest areas are going to be at the bottom. And again, you can go over it once it dries and just bring it out a little bit more. But it's very cool. So you have the yellow up against the green, and it's still yellow. You're going to get a little bit of bleeding from the background. That's why it's important to have compatible colors that aren't going to turn it too much into something else. So, yeah, I mean, the background was already done. All I had to do was stamp and, color with the watercolor. It's so much easier than trying to figure out what you're going to do with your focal image. Okay. Now I'm going to take this pink, and I'm going to, because I have it handy, this little well, And I'm going to do a quick background and tell you some of the things that I do to give myself a decent blend. Okay, take a piece of paper towel, take my water bottle and a brush, and I wet my paper. Just going to dip it in, and look at that move. The secret is never give yourself a dry edge. You always want your edge to be wet. And you're going to go over it a few times. If we want to, say, have the middle, pretty much go to nothing, then we keep working it where the deepest color is at the bottom. And I'm wiping off, because what I'm doing is, if there's pink there, I don't want there to be pink there. I want there to be a lighter shade maybe, but I don't want to bring the pink up too much. And then you go back down again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little strip at the top. And again, I'm going to use my brush. I'm going to put a little bit of water. Now just the tiniest bit of ink. And again, make sure there's a wet line. And the wet line is right where the ink stops. You got to give yourself a wet line. That's how you get the blend. And I'm done. Could you believe? I'm done. And I take my and now I can do how many of these? Cut them down and just wait until there's an image that I want to highlight. And then I could use this. And really quickly, I'm going to show you some of the ones that I've done already. Alright, so this is going to go here. So this is try, 3 colors. This is what I've just done, but in an orange. This is, I believe, the same color and graduated to nothing. This is a pretty blue. Here's a yellow, very dark on the bottom, lighter as it goes up. And this is the one, pretty much what I just did. So if you have things that you want to color in, or that you want to stamp, but you don't want to deal with backgrounds, this is the way to go. It's neater, it's cleaner. Again, I'll show you the purple one. I did this with the watercolor. I could never get this blend here, this transition, if the stamp was already there. I couldn't do it. So this is my answer to stamping an image that I love or I like, coloring it in, and not worrying about the background. So it saw how fast it was to do that. Really, really quickly, I wanted to show you this. And again, you can do something like this. No background, do your coloring of your focal image, and then use a stencil and just stencil the background. And you would do that by putting the stencil on top, and wherever you don't see color, that's where, for instance, this is the stencil. Okay, see, I see color here. I wouldn't put color, then I wouldn't add in color. But see, there's no color here. This is, I would use a very small makeup brush, dip it in my ink, and just go over where there is no color. Wherever you see color, I mean, unless you want to add it. But it gives it some interest. Doesn't make them look lonely. Yeah. Doing a background could be so easy. You can actually do the sides, kind of darken it a little bit, give it a little bit more of kind of, a vignette look. It's so much easier. And I wanted to share that, and I wanted to be quick about it, and I think I did good. So I am going to say goodbye for now. I hope everyone is well. Thank you for stopping in. I hope that I gave you some options, and let me know. Please comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and please stay safe, and by all means, remember, it's the little things in card making. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.